Hello, my name is Iannielli, and I am going to be having a surgical procedure done for my male to female transition. Actually, I didn't even think it would be approved, but luckily my insurance company is approving it. Actually, I'm going to have my voice altered through a procedure where my surgeon will stitch my vocal cords, adjusting them to a more feminine sounding voice. I kind of go back and forth trying to talk on my own, and I went to speak to a voice coach, actually taking lessons, and I found it very difficult to get that voice down. So I am now going for surgery. Actually, the surgery I never thought I would actually do. However, a friend of mine kind of led me in that direction because she went through the process, but with a different doctor. I'm actually going through the surgery with a surgeon in Manhattan, Dr. Mark Quarry, who seems like a very well-established medical doctor, surgeon, who certainly knows his line of work. So I'm putting all my trust and faith in my team of my speech pathologist, Ms. Rosenberg. I'm trying to remember her first name. It should come to me. And Dr. Mark Quarry. They both are wonderful. And my speech pathologist, I guess my speech therapist, I should say, is trying to teach me how to speak in a more feminine way. And she says if I speak in a more breathy way, that I will sound more feminine. Plus, she says women know how to play with their emotions and know how to put it all out there, and they kind of are flirtatious, or not flirtatious in the meaning of wanting to attract someone, but flirtatious in how they speak, like they may have their eyes more in tune with the person, whereas men kind of don't have that same kind of skill, I guess you could say. Leah Rosenberg is my speech therapist. I knew I'd get it. Leah Rosenberg at Mount Sinai Beth Israel, and Dr. Mark Quarry. They're both working together to help me develop a more feminine voice, and they agree that I should go forward with the surgery, as I believe it will give me a more feminine sounding voice. It's not a guarantee, but it certainly should provide me with the opportunity to speak more feminine. There are risks involved in the surgery too, but I have full faith in my doctor, and I am going into the surgery with an open mind and hoping for the best outcome, but any progress towards developing more feminine voice will be my goal. I have some goals that are dependent on others, obviously, as my surgery, I'm relying on my surgeons, obviously, and I have goals within my own control where I can kind of work in conjunction with the surgery by retraining my voice to sound more feminine. And actually, I would like to sound more British. I like that. And my teacher, my speech therapist, says women enunciate more with the syllables, especially when they say the words like butter. I would like some butter with my toast. So they expound on the T in the words, S2, and all the vowels when they speak, and consonants. So there is clearly a difference between women and men here, how they approach speaking. Plus, women are more wordy. They have more words in how they communicate, whereas men are more monotone. Men are more monotone, but women have more intonation and are more colorful in their voice. So I noticed that clearly when I spoke as a male, that I didn't have any kind of excitement to my voice. But as a woman, I want to have more excitement in my voice. And I also enjoy, like today, I went from my doctor's at Mount Sinai, Beth Israel. I had to actually drive into the city today, the city today, because I didn't get up early enough to make the walk from my house in Levittown to the Hicksville train station, which is a good 2.5 miles away. So rather than risk being late, I drove into the city because my Mount Sinai Beth Israel speech therapist and the surgeon are located at 5 East 98th Street near the that famous park in the city, Central Park. And I went the Museum Mile walk all the way from there, 5 East 98th Street, all the way down to my doctor's at Callan Lord, which is quite a walk, at the 18th Street location where my primary care doctors are, and at the 17th Street location where my therapist and my psychiatrist are. So I got to see my speech therapist, my surgeon who's prepping. I have my surgery on April 13th, which is not that far away. So I have to go back into the city tomorrow to my primary care physician at Callan Lord to make sure that they get all the papers in order and give me medical clearance. So I need blood tests according to what was asked. I need medical clearance, and I need a EKG since I'm over the age of 50. So I am kind of nervous a little bit about the surgery, but I'm also excited with the potential of having a more feminine voice, so I don't have to deal with being addressed as sir anymore. I'd rather be addressed as a female, as ma'am, and I'm much happier when I'm addressed in the feminine, and that's what I wish for. And eventually I will have the other surgery called the male to female surgery, bottom surgery, vaginoplasty, orchiectomy. I need that to have my body in tune with my mind and my feminine brain. But I have to do one thing at a time. And I also have my son on my mind. As much as I'm transitioning to the feminine side, I still have to be a father to my son. I know it sounds a little bizarre, but indeed I am a father still, and I have to kind of walk delicately with my son since he's autistic and try to allow him to get used to the idea. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy for me. It's not going to be easy for my family, especially my son, my wife, anybody in my family. However, I've been struggling with my transgender since the age of 3. I didn't know transgender. All I knew was I felt like a girl, and I enjoyed wearing dresses, and I was always jealous of my sisters because they got to wear the dresses and the hair bows, and I had to wear the boring boy clothes, and then I had to wear the men clothes, and I hated with that. I hated it, and I used to wear dresses underneath my boy clothes and my male clothes. So now I am only doing what I feel I need to do, and I hope that people can understand and accept me for who I am. I am a good person, and I'm only doing what I feel is necessary for me. I'm not going to live forever. I'm 56. I came out at 51, roughly 51, transitioned, took a job where I thought I'd be accepted. That's what they told me. My CPA firm that I used to work for convinced me to leave the employer I was working at, where I was actually requested to go. I requested to go because I couldn't deal with tax season and the pressures anymore, and I knew I was going to take a big pay cut, but it was worth it for me, so I didn't have to deal with the pressure of tax season anymore. I loved the bonuses. I loved the $90,000 salaries with the plus the inclusive of the bonus, Christmas and tax season. I made like a $75,000 salary, and then when you added the tax season and Christmas, it came out to like 90 to 92,000 a year. I never quite got to 100,000. I think 92 was the closest. But when I took the job at the engineering related company, they were trying to work with my transition, but the CPA firm convinced them to have me move on. So I was kind of pushed out, and then I took the job with the doctor's office, where the firm told me that they were open. I went on the interview. They seemed like they were going to accept me, but the practice manager was on my side. However, the doctor, the owner from France, who had multiple locations, didn't want me on the telephone, didn't want me in business meetings, so I knew something was up right from the beginning. And as I knew, 7 months later, he made the practice manager find a way to terminate my services, and that's when I fainted and was brought to Bellevue, and that's when I started the whole process with my medical troubles, being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, depression, and gender dysphoria. But I'm getting better, and now I'm going for the right treatments. I'm on Social Security disability, long-term disability. That's the only way I can survive. I'm concerned about my son, who's 18. He's been on my disability for 3 years, and now we have to make sure we went to Social Security. They're working on his case, and we hope that once he finishes school, I wish he could go to college, even if it was just a community college. But I hope and pray my son will fulfill his requirements of what's in the IPE without being pushed out of school, which has been watered down from a Regents diploma, obviously, because he's not capable at this point to a local diploma. But he's entitled to go to school in New York because of his disability until age 21. And that's why I'm so upset with the school district, because they want to graduate him as quickly as possible. And I'm going to fight them tooth and nail. I am not going to settle for less than a local diploma. That's what's in his IEP. He's entitled to get that. He's missing the English Regents exam. He passed the other exams that are required for a local diploma, but he must pass the English. And if he doesn't, and they decide to force him out, he will not have a diploma. And that's unacceptable to me. I want him graduate with a local diploma, have the bare minimum requirement to possibly go to college, but they're forcing down my throat and my wife that he should be in a group home, and I don't feel it's the right thing to do. He's been away from us for 3 years, 6-hour drive away, one-way trip, and we only see him on holidays and weekends, and it's tearing me apart emotionally, and I am seeing it tearing him apart emotionally. And my wife, though she's stoic, I know it's bothering her as well. And my mother-in-law is also missing him. And we have family from the Philippines, my wife's sister, brother, and my wife's sister's 3 children, a daughter and 2 boys. If they are living with us, I want my son to live with us as well, and hopefully go to school and not be forced into a group home unless it's absolutely necessary. And I'm afraid it may come down to that, and I would be brokenhearted with that, because I love my son and I can't deal with the separation anymore. It's really affecting my emotional and mental well-being, and it's affecting our family and my son, and we just want him to have a quality of life as best he can. I'm not demanding a lot. I just want as best he can do. I love you, Matthew. You're my son. You'll always be my son. And I will always be there for you. And you have to be strong, like I had to be strong. Because what I went through was painful. I'm not rehashing the past. I'm just trying to move on. I suffered enough, and now I have to go forward with my life. I lost my parents tragically. I don't want to die tragically, though I risk my life as well, going through surgery at my age of 56. But I feel I have no choice as a transgender woman. I love you, Maddie. Take care of yourself. Be well. We're there for you.